market update video here at Benefits Central. I'm Benjamin, and today Bitcoin in the S&P charts. But before I get right into the market, please leave a like, drop a comment, and if you can subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Honestly, everybody, the market has reacted pretty interesting as of this morning. Obviously, we ended up tweeting that we were in profit and made a great profit all the way to, I believe it was 1758, and then we took our profits and we took a nap, woke up just a few minutes later, say maybe an hour or so, and when the markets did open and Powell ended up speaking on our CPI reports, we ended up tanking. He did end up coming out hawkish, and he ended up tanking the markets. We ended up coming out up, I believe, a point higher than expected when we were looking hopefully for a little bit less than that. However, we do still have our Ethereum merge September 15th, which is in 2 more days. However, after that, after the news, honestly, on crypto and as well as the CPI report data, or the data reports, it is going to be very interesting to see where we necessarily trend towards now. We only have a few hours to reverse this and make an RBI, which I don't think will happen. However, we did end up bouncing off of our insane dump, and the dump was pretty impressive, honestly. We managed to do most of the damage, I'd say, within 30 minutes, and then obviously rounding out the bottom now, hopefully maybe a teacup and handle formation. I did call the 1600 bottom, and we ended up buying that and then TP'd out of it. We still have our last trade kind of just going in right now from our 1600 level. But other than that, realistically, we did catch this drop. We didn't short it, but we caught it. Definitely seeing what was going on with the markets. However, looking in on the daily, just to catch you guys up on Ethereum, we ended up breaching below our 50 moving average as well as our 20 moving average. We do have this bearish cross, which was anticipated, so people are saying that this was there. However, I didn't necessarily see that this huge dump was going to be there since we were trending so high. However, since we did come back all the way down and retest our 1600, almost 1550 for Ethereum, we did get a chance to reset this RSI for a bigger move up if that's what we are going to try to attempt. However, looking at the weekly, I would like to make sure that we don't get this bear 180. Once again, we can have this nice pivot to push us right back down. And I mean, if this is successful and we breach everything, then we would revisit our 200 moving average at around 1300. However, I don't necessarily think that we're going to continue much further down just because of how oversold realistically the markets are. I would say that max right now for our support, we would be revisiting 1500. And if we do end up breaching that, then obviously we will be facing our 1300 level on the 200 moving average. But as of right now, we are fighting with our 20 moving average on the weekly to hopefully make sure that we get some support above that and close above it. Hopefully seeing this drag all the way back up within a few next days. It is Tuesday, so our week does have a lot of room to continue bullish momentum, but it also has a lot of time and room to form in some bearish momentum coming into the markets as well. Obviously, after what was said this morning in the data reports. But other than that, looking at the monthly, we do still have our anticipated RBI for our Ethereum merge. However, just because of the data that we did receive and the news that we received today, it did end up pushing us pretty far back down. Like I said, once again, right below it was 1600. That was our, if you want to do it, a moderate to risky, a moderate risk, honestly, of a trade, jumping in at 1600 for the attempt for the bull 180. We did end up making profits off that around 1780, almost 1800. However, looking in our bottom to end up shorting this to the downside would be 1500 on our entry. Although I won't be shorting anything just necessarily just yet, even if we were to come in contact with 1500, just because I have a lot more hopes for our bullish return. However, like I said, we still are in this descending channel, so this can be our rejection as of right now, getting rejected off this downtrend that we're facing right now for the monthly, honestly, as well as after our head and shoulders for this completion of the head and shoulders for the downtrend and that descending channel that we're in. But other than that, realistically, we are going to take a look real quick at the rest of the currencies that are taking some damage from Powell and the rest of the feds. But diving into Bitcoin just real quick to show you guys, it isn't necessarily rounding out that bottom like we'd like to see. However, diving into the daily, you can tell that we are doing pretty well. Obviously, off of that descending channel, we did break bullish. However, having some massive amounts of bear momentum honestly, with that bear 180 as well for the daily, coming in and resetting us, almost touching our 20 moving average right here, as well as our bearish cross. So it is very interesting. However, we did end up resetting that RSI just a tad bit from our being overbought, which is phenomenal, just giving us a little bit more room inside our weekly, as we're majorly oversold. But finally, like I said, possibly getting this W formation, hopefully not coming too bearish off of this, because we can complete this bearish for our W formation. However, if we continue bearish momentum, we can see this as an acorn, and then seeing this as a GBI, or not a GBI, but a bear 180, excuse me, and then continuing bearish momentum all the way back down to at least our next support, which I believe is around 13. Oh no, that's, sorry, this is Bitcoin, which is around 17 or 18,000 for BTC, just because that is where we last, right here on this hiccup. And then right here, this is where we last stabbed right below our 200 moving average when we did close below it. So hopefully not revisiting that too much or too soon here, or not at all. But if we do that, I do expect us to revisit those price tags, obviously. Hopefully finding some support, obviously, as we've W'd off of this. This used to be our resistance, now trying to see as it is support, as well as this pivot here, and then that one attempt to try to get there. Obviously with our bullish break coming back down, we're just testing supports as of right now. So if we do, and we can hold our 20,000 for Bitcoin, at least our 19,000 for Bitcoin, I do believe that we should have a continuous bullish momentum towards the upside, obviously, for the weekly and monthly. However, if we end up breaking this W formation that we have right here, and maybe possibly turning it into an M, then we will see that we have a lot more bearish and a lot more lows here to come before we end up deciding to return back into the highs for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. However, looking in on the monthly, just real quick for you guys, obviously with this triple top that everybody was talking about, or that we didn't get just quite obviously with this W, but other than that, realistically, we do, off of these last 3 months, we ended up forming this RBI pattern that we would love to see. However, we are just battling out, as right now currently it is September 13th, so we do still have a few more weeks to battle out this monthly. However, especially with our merge, we can get this and see this to set up and complete bullish. However, because of what has been said and for our reports last month that we just received now, we should see how this market realistically ends up reacting to what we want to go towards in price action, just because of we had this possible GBI and it negated it, totally pushed it up, canceling out that pattern. But however, we can still have this continue bearish momentum if this decides to push down and reject off our 50 moving average, excuse me, as well as this deciding to curl down, possibly meet us lower here, and then finally getting momentum to push us right back up, which wouldn't necessarily be what we want to see in markets, but this is an outcome as well, just because we are acorned out right here as well with this possible, like I said, RBI, but also GBI possibility continuation. So you do just need to be careful. Obviously, if we end up breaking levels below 18,700, I'd call that 18.5. You can do 7, and I would say 20. I'd say this 24,000 bullish scenario entry for 24K, and then obviously a bearish scenario under 19,000. Once we break 19,000, realistically, we should see a lot, at least a lower low. But realistically, we do have a little bit more momentum sitting in right now just off of that dump that we just got. So we do have to see how we round out this bottom if we can. Remember, we did try to round out that dump and we ended up tanking much further, as well as having this 200 moving average being resistance with us right now. This is showing a higher indication that we can end up tanking much further, as well as showing a weaker right shoulder to that W. Just the bullish momentum right here wasn't too strong, at least not strong enough to push us and close us closer to the 200 moving average. We just kind of moved up a little bit after the doji, leaving room for this to be another GBI or a bear 180 to go back down. So do just be careful with price action just right now. Obviously, scared money doesn't make money, but don't make any dumb ideas as of right now, just because there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of volatility in the markets. It's just not very healthy to be putting in random trades and hoping that they work. You really have to be tight with what you're doing right now, and you have to be focused and understand every reason you're getting in and out of the market, because if not, then you will be making some mistakes, obviously, with and against the Feds. However, let's check in on the dollar for everybody right now, obviously forming some bullish runs right here. But as of right now, we did end up having that huge spike after Powell spoke, and I believe that happened in the same within 30 minutes. We were extremely overbought once again, floating and consolidating once again on the overbought at around 110 for the dollar. However, looking at the daily, we did get that bull 180. Not necessarily liking that. However, we do have to see how we just end up facing resistance and see if this can be a head and shoulders and then possibly taking us right back down, as we are pretty high. However, because of that dip that we just received and then this massive pump that we just ended up getting back, it gave us enough room to reset the RSI, and then now we still have room to continue to the upside. So that's not necessarily great. However, it is still a possibility, as well as our weekly showing that we do have a bull 180 as well as a RBI for the dollar to continue up. And remember, like I said, when the dollar goes up, crypto goes down. When the dollar goes down, crypto goes up. So it is very interesting as of right now for how crypto is going to be for this merge, especially for Ethereum and the rest of the crypto markets, just because of how aggressive the dollar is moving to the upside. However, looking at the monthly, you can tell there's not too much data for us to look at. However, our monthly is still extremely bullish, still above our last close on the bullish, and defeated all wicks for our last highs. So initially we're making new highs, 110, and we still have a few more weeks in this month. We still can continue bullish. However, we just tapped overbought, which means that we can start to trend back down to the downside to reset this RSI on the monthly, and then that would be great news for crypto, as we would see some upside in the crypto as the dollar fell. But other than that, realistically, we just have the S&P just to check in real quick for everybody. Jumping in on the daily, obviously it reacted very similar to everything. However, it is a stable coin, so it won't necessarily dump and pump as aggressively. However, it still did get some mass amounts of volume in there, and we did get this confirmed bear 180. You could have shorted this, however, it happened way too fast for anybody to really necessarily jump in. But honestly, it happened within the first 15 minutes, and then finally, obviously, we're rounding out this bottom, looking like we're going to try to attempt to push much lower. However, we're pretty damn oversold, so I don't really think that we will have too much of a downside. If anything, we might end up consolidating a bit out for the S&P 500 until we decide to see some lower prices. However, looking on the hourly, we are coming in contact with our 200 moving average. If we do decide to breach that, then obviously we will come in with lower lows. However, we are extremely oversold on the hourly, so I do anticipate a bit of at least a bounce from our dump that we had. However, looking at the hour 4, we are also battling our 50 moving average as well as our 20 moving average that we breached, but right now coming in contact with that, as well as being extremely oversold on the hourly 4. Looking in on the daily, being pretty close to oversold. However, we did get that bear 180 and are coming back down, most likely to test this right here if we can't find support on our other areas. Obviously there was a resistance here, not finding support, and there was our bounce that we had right here and a little bit of a pivot here. So we are trying to find some support here. However, if we can't, then we will end up at least touching this next wick, which will be at around 39.50, I would call it. And then if we can't, then we will continue back down to 3900. However, we are facing a bit of support as of right now, as well as above that triple bottom, or double bottom. A lot of people had different opinions on this. I believe this was our triple bottom, with 2 being here and then our third one being here. Pumping neckline, finally getting above this, retesting and pushing. Now we're just retesting that. So realistically, it all depends on how we decide to react to this within the next few days, or tonight, realistically finding our close between 5 to 6 for our dailies. Looking at the weekly, we can get a GBI and some bearish momentum pushing all the way back down to our 200 moving average at around 3600. But like I said, if we can fight and get some support on our 20 moving average as well for our weekly, and as well as all the moving averages and supports that we are facing as of right now because of how oversold we are, then I do think that we should consider at least maybe form an RBI or an acorn, or a doji, and then having an RBI push us much further out of this at least. But as of right now, we still are in this descending channel and coming in contact with our 200 moving average here pretty soon. Other than that, looking at our monthly, we do have this RBI, like most of the cryptos and markets are trending to push us bullish. However, because of the news, it ended up getting us bearish, and the worst case scenario, honestly, we did just breach support. Like I said, if we can't hold, then honestly we will end up seeing our lower lows, which wouldn't be great. However, if we can like I said, hold above this, and we will get that continuation for this RBI retesting our 20 moving average and most likely breaking us out of this descending channel. If not, and we do fail, then this was a retest and a fail at breaching our descending channel right around here. As you can tell, we went up to test that and it immediately got rejected. So it is going to be very interesting for the markets to see if we can ever attempt to break and breach this. If we can't, then this can form a GBI formation and it will continue as lower to fill out this formation until, until we decide to obviously get to fill this out and then find the tipping point of whether we breach bullish or bearish. So very, very interesting market analysis for this day, honestly, and this week. Events happening this week. But other than that, realistically, that was just another quick market update video for you guys. Please be safe trading. Do not do anything risky right now just because of the manipulation we have. Be safe, half in holes. Follow your analysis and be disciplined. Do not break it for anything. Always leave the market and always have a reason to leave the market and always have a reason to enter the market. Do A if A happens, do B if B happens. But other than that, that was just another quick market update video, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.